about new presidents, why don't you talk to us about what our president, Mr. Jonathan Capel, the doctor of oncology, why don't you tell us what he's up to?
Yeah, of course. So Montclair State University is taking inclusive education to the next level. That's right. Montclair is doing it all over again, taking inclusivity and making sure everyone has a home here on campus is something everyone can say is something we're all proud of MSU for. Bringing new certificate programs in general education studies launches for students with intellectual disabilities is the latest here, and applications for the fall 2024 semesters are already rolling in. Across the country, less than 5% of students with intellectual disabilities get to attend any form of college or university. However, we are now among 10 colleges in New Jersey to offer opportunities like this to people who deserve it and need it most. The 2-year program holds different tracks these students can take, such as education, service and society, management and technology, health, wellness and sciences, and arts, culture, and design. Christine Tanko, a senior music education major, explains that being inclusive is something that should absolutely be everywhere, but unfortunately is not. Certificate Program Director Catherine Leonard vocalizes, I think the entire campus community benefits from the inclusion of students with intellectual disabilities at Montclair. The Certificate in General Education Studies offers opportunities for all Montclair students to benefit from interdependence, engage with diverse perspectives, and lived experiences, and develop a meaningful understanding of disability justice. In the past couple of weeks, we have seen Montclair get a light shined on them for being so inclusive. How do you guys feel about this?
I feel like these last couple of weeks, every week, we're always talking about how great Montclair is and a new Guinness Book World Record. And it's so good to know that Montclair has been in the pros constantly. And we've all been in freshman year and we all had to make the transition from high school to college. It can be very hard, but this is gonna help local high school students transition to college life, which is entirely different from high school. And I think this is a good way to make the change.
Well, honestly, it's a big part of the reason that I fell in love with Montclair State. Not only because the campus is so beautiful, but also because all the resources and, everything that they provide just really stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the SCM alone, like when I came to my tour here at the SCM, you see so much, and you look around campus, you look at all the programs, all the different people around here. It's got a lot of great ideas and a lot of fun here at Montclair for sure.
I know, man. Like one of the things that always strike out to me so hard whenever I come into the SCM is the big monitors everywhere that just show journalism, that just show news, and you see everything from what Montclair is doing, you see everything from what the SCM is doing, and then you see what the professionals are doing. You got that big screen that broadcasts CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC all at the same time. Aside from the hilarity that sometimes happens when CNN and NBC News are discussing worldwide issues, and Fox News is running a segment on a Black Trump supporter on an airplane. It just goes to show just how much resources we have on campus and outside. It always warms my heart when we have guests come onto the station and they just look around and go, "You guys have a lot. You guys are blessed." And I'm like, we know, we're so blessed.
Montclair State University has just been recognized over and over and over again as inclusive. I mean, even late last month on October 30th, Montclair State University was recognized as a Fulbright HSI leader, Hispanic Serving Institute, and it was only one of 46 institutions in the country to earn recognition from the Department of State. So, I mean, even on a federal level, Montclair is just recognized left and right for all the great things that it's done. And I am a very proud Red Hawk, and it's crazy to say that because a lot of people love to tear on Montclair for no reason, just because I feel like we hear that all the time. Oh, I hate Montclair. I hate the school. I hate the school. I hate the school. But like, be real. Like, this school is fantastic.
Well, let's also make one thing clear. At the end of the day, we're adults. We're also young adults, which means that by mind, we are adults. But by hearts, many of us are still children. And as children, what's the bane of your existence? Bedtime, rules
School.
in school. So my philosophy on that is it doesn't matter what school you go to. You can go to one of the most luxurious schools that offers quite literally everything that you could possibly need, which is kind of what goes into picking a college, which is picking a college that offers everything you need. And the mere aspect that somewhere down the line, you are still expected to get up and go to class and do homework, something is going to irritate you. It's also an administration run by people that are several times our age, and we are 20 years old. So, yes, there are going to be certain policies in effect that make absolutely no sense to us whatsoever. And that's going to be regardless of where you go. So I think that our school is not perfect. There is things that can be fixed, but nonetheless, the things that I do hear complained about most often are things that I just feel are a universal issue that you're going to run into wherever. They'll say, I'm going to transfer out of Montclair and I'm going to go to Rutgers. And I'm going to be like, well, Rutgers is 3 times our size, so you're just going to run into 3 times our problems. Go ahead. Like,
I think the last thing I'll say about this is when you tour Montclair campus, one of the first things you see is the New York skyline. And you say, it is so nice that New York is right there. It's so convenient. It's such a beautiful city. It has everything you need right there. But you kind of forget Montclair in its own right has so much and so much that you want to have in the campus. And it's a smaller school and it has everything you need.
We love it. And with that, since we brought up the New York skyline, let's have
Things for now. People are thinking, number one, what's gaffer? A gaffer is a chief electrician on a film set.
most
The other
know what a
thing,
gaffer is.
a lot of people don't. The other thing that people are thinking is number two, what's up with Scarlett Johansson? And Scarlett Johansson's advocating for food security. Scarlett Johansson has partnered up with Feeding America to continue providing food security for kids in need. Food insecurity is an issue that Johansson has personal experience with, which she shares saying, "My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow." To put things into perspective, Johansson emphasizes her humble beginnings and how she and her brother grew up as normal kids who went to public school. She also expresses her gratitude for the accessibility of these kinds of programs in schools, as it is part of the reason why she made it to where she is today. She is now supporting this organization and it's in its continued effort to provide free breakfast and lunch to students from low-income families. She and Feeding America are working together to ensure that meals remain accessible for any student who needs them. This is beautiful, beautiful work in our country. Although I feel like some states kind of have this built in on a federal level, on a state level, mandated by the government. But just in case you missed the cut barely, Scarlett Johansson has your back. This is awesome, in my opinion.
Oh man,
Handsome. Gotta be careful.
as a kid that grew up with free and reduced lunch, the biggest shocker to me when I graduated was learning that not every school offers that. And what the biggest shock to me, honestly, was just how many people say that those programs should not exist. It's on the list of one of those topics that I believe shouldn't really have discourse, that I believe it should just be straightforward. Imagine saying, I believe children should eat, and somebody going, I disagree with that statement, my friend. I don't agree with you. We don't see eye to eye there, my friend. What is there to disagree with? It brings us back to, thankfully, the fact that New Jersey is not one of those places I have to worry about that. Especially here at Montclair State, we have several options for people who are struggling financially and struggling with food. We have our Montclair pantry. We have so many other options, guys. Am I missing any? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, right on campus, we have the Red Hawk Pantry, which is really great. It opens up a couple times a week. You could always see that in your email chain, in the Loop email chain. It'll be located in Blanton Hall, right when you walk in, and it is under Red Hawk Pantry. It's a great resource that we have here on campus. Anyone can go to it. You don't need to provide any credentials or anything like that. Just go in, it's private. Get whatever you need. They have a bunch of stuff there. They don't just have, cans of soup. They have some pretty good choices.
It's actually very, very helpful.
We do stand the Red Hawk Pantry. Shout out to them, man. And this is also a general PSA. Not a call to action. Not me suggesting anything, but just a helpful advice. If you yourself, listeners, are in a position where you can help people in your area, if you are in any faculty position or in any administration or executive position, and you work with several people a day, you have zero idea what some of those people that you work with and that work for you handle on a daily, and food being one of them. So this is my little hope that this inspires you to help amongst yourself. Have a little stash of random cup noodles or whatever you can find, just in case somebody cannot afford lunch that day or can't grab lunch. That goes for faculty, that goes for workers, that goes for people on their morning commute to be a CEO or whatever you're doing in the Montclair area. That just, everything helps. Food is something that's not really talked about. A lot of you weirdos do not like to eat, but yeah.
I mean, JT, I know you brought it up before, but as a student who also grew up on free lunch, there was a point my sophomore year of high school, right? So up until my sophomore year of high school, I always had free lunch. And then my sophomore year of high school, apparently my parents made too much money to the point where I was no longer eligible for free lunch, but reduced lunch. And this can happen for a number of reasons, right? So let's say like my dad picked up a couple extra hours at work the year before, boom, his income went up for that year. Even if you're over the limit by like $50, which I think it was actually $50, that disqualifies you from this program. Even though, you might still really, really, really need it. So there was a point where like I literally just was not eating lunch, and my lunch ladies in high school were giving me free lunch. Shout out to you if you're listening right now. Because you really did save my life, quite literally. And then obviously it went back to normal my junior, my senior year. But then you have to think about it. Like my whole life I grew up on free lunch. I was so shocked to the point where I started getting charged for lunch. I was so confused. I was like, people are paying for lunch? Why the heck do kids have, like, it makes no sense to me, right? Why, if you're forcing kids to go to a public school, I feel like the lunch should probably be provided, right, for free.
I mean, you force somebody to be somewhere, you force them to, essentially, because, some people go to jail if kids don't go to school. I think that you should make sure those people eat, and you shouldn't charge them on top of it. You shouldn't charge for, like, they shouldn't be charged anything. I am so sorry. I'm sorry if that makes me sound like a commie, but
Excuse me?
you should not charge anybody for to being in the spot that they're mandatory to be at. It makes no sense, because it's like,
especially kids.
Like, imagine saying, well, if you can't afford lunch, you just can't come here. I don't have a choice. I'm about to get real heated, so we're getting very hour one. Let's bring it back to hour two. We are getting very hour one for a second, but I'm not going to take it to hour one because I refuse to bring up Taylor Swift. So we're gonna bring up somebody else.
Or planes.
We're gonna bring up Beyonce. That's right. The worldwide trailer of Beyonce's new concert film titled Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. It has dropped. The new teaser features some live content that will be shown in the film. There are snippets of the singer's record-breaking stage show where we see some of her costumes and her choreography as well. There is some backstage clip of Beyonce's daughter, Blue Ivy, and her husband, Jay-Z. So she also becomes vulnerable opens up about her identity and the challenges that she has faced and had to overcome. In the words of Beyonce herself, a world where everybody is free and nobody is judged. That comes from the Queen Bee herself, Beyonce. This film is set to release December 1st and showcases her Renaissance World Tour. Go Beyonce, go Bay. How do we feel?
Garrett, I mean, this is all you,
Take
man.
it away, Garrett.
Take it away.
I mean, I definitely like Beyonce. I think that a lot of people are going to go see this film to compare it to the Taylor Swift film version that she released earlier in the year. It is two completely different genres, two completely different artists, but all the fans are pretty similar. So I think that this will definitely attract a lot of people. And Taylor kind of started off the wave from it.
100.
Taylor started off the wave
Well, this year.
this year. Yeah, walk that back because you know who did it last year, right? Kendrick did it last year in Paris.
I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. All I know is that Katy Perry did a Part of Me documentary, which I was obsessed with.
There's so many people we can go
What?
into, and some more people we can go into in a little bit. Now, instead of coming up with some very clever segue into our next story, or playing some Beyonce like you think that I would normally do, I'm gonna give you a very close hint as to what we will be discussing next via La Musica. So, pay attention.